centerpiece.
Hi and welcome to the second episode of Cooking with Pick n Pay. I'm Vicky Moller, I'm your host, and with me today is the lovely, the courageous, the brave, the limitless Queen of the Namibian Sky, Commissioner 𝓒𝓸𝓸𝓸𝓴. Remember to watch till the end and you can win an awesome Pick n Pay shopping voucher. With us today, Commissioner Dumbu. May I call you Florentina?
Absolutely.
Florentina, where are you from?
I grew up in Rundu. I spent the first 17 years of my life there. Shortly after turning 17, I moved to Windhoek after grade 12.
Oh wow, and what inspired you to become a pilot?
When I was much younger, I was watching TV one day, and then I was watching a documentary that featured the first African-American female astronaut in the United States. Her name is 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐤 Jamison, and I saw her in the spaceship wearing her spacesuit, and I was absolutely inspired, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to become an astronaut as a child.
Oh wow. Chef Zen, tell us what's on the menu. Ooh.
What a flight!
Where are you coming from?
I was on a helicopter. And our pilot, Commissioner Dumbu, who did a brilliant job. My nerves were, but you settled them well.
I'm glad you enjoyed the flight.
It was fantastic.
So tell us what's on the menu today. Oh, let's first start with drinks.
I'm
very thirsty.
Yes, let's give you some fruit and vegetable infused water.
Fruit and vegetable infused.
We've got some cucumber slices, some mint, strawberry, and some blueberry.
Oh, that sounds amazing. To freshen us up from that amazing flight.
To cool you down, yes, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, there's no alcohol in this because you are still in uniform, but cheers.
Cheers.
And viewers at home, I have to tell you that Commissioner Dumbu is the first female pilot who is in charge of the Air Wing Directorate of the Namibian Police.
And with that, what's on the menu today is very simple but elegant.
Ooh.
It's something you can make at home with the ingredients you already have in your cupboards or a normal basic home has. But you can dish out a 5-star meal. Quick, simple and easy. It's a mint and parmesan crusted lamb rack on a bed of butternut puree with some sweet snappy peas.
And we got that inspiration from Commissioner Dumbu because your favorite meal is lamb stew.
With red wine sauce.
With a red wine sauce. And we've got that also on our menu now.
We've added a red wine reduction as well.
Ooh.
And the flavors, it makes the flavors pop. So ladies, if you'll like to join me on this side of the table, today we're gonna get our hands dirty. I need some help with our cooking. Yes, you need to be dressed for the occasion. Can't cook without an apron. So on today's menu is the mint crusted lamb. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take the mint leaves off the stems. If you ladies will help me with that, please. And then we're gonna blanch the mint in some boiling water. That's to ensure that we lock in the color. Because what happens sometimes when you cook with mint and you don't blanch or lock the color, it turns black while cooking. So we want to prevent that. You know, it's also nice for the eye if you have a nice green.
So, Florentina, you are a foodie.
I believe I am.
What role does food play in your life?
I grew up in a big family, and food was what brought us together. So we had 3 meals a day together as a family, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so food brought us together.
That's such a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I miss that actually.
And becoming a pilot, how difficult was it for you to navigate into a world that is traditionally very male dominated?
Well, the industry is male dominated, but I got a lot of support from my male counterparts. I know it is perceived that there's a lot of competition, but my male counterparts were actually very supportive. The issues that I experienced from both female and male counterparts. Yeah. So as it is male dominated, it wasn't an issue. I never really experienced any difficulties navigating through this industry. Yeah.
That's actually great to hear, because there's a lot of stigma, I think, around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Around this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially being a pilot and being a female pilot as well.
Yes. No, the guys are great. They are very supportive.
And why did you opt for NAMPO and not necessarily in the private sector? Because private sector is always where the money and the beautiful girls and the beautiful guys are.
Exactly. Yeah, so I couldn't become an astronaut because my parents couldn't afford to pay for it. So my sister, my older sister, helped me get a government scholarship so I could do pilot training. She was actually the one who suggested the next best thing for me. Yeah. So I got funded by the government, and then as I was about to graduate to get my commercial pilot license in airplanes, the police was looking for pilots. So they approached my flight training school and they asked for recommendations. And I was one of the people that were recommended. So they chose me because they had already had 3 male pilots. They needed a female. Yeah, so the school recommended me, and then I obviously spoke to my family about it. Like, it's a perfect opportunity. The government paid for your training, so give back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Yes.
Yeah, like do your years in the government, and then afterwards you can go and fly for whoever you want.
So you can fly both helicopters and aeroplanes?
Yes.
Oh my word.
So to interrupt your chit chats, ladies, we're gonna blanch our mint. Remember we said we're just locking in the color. So when we're blanching your mint, you do it just for a few minutes, 1 to 2 minutes max. You don't want to overcook the mint as well. And then immediately take it to a bowl of ice water.
Centerpiece.
We've got everything ready for our crust. I've peeled 2 pods of garlic. I like to crush the garlic before I chop it up. It also just releases the flavor. Once chopped, so we can just chop it up. You don't really need to chop it into very fine pieces because we're throwing it all into the blender. The blender will do that for us nicely.
Nice, almost like Pick and Pay that also chops up everything if you need a chopped butternut like we're gonna need today. Pick and Pay's got it already chopped. Butternut is one of those veggies that is definitely a pain to cut.
Absolutely.
You need a good knife, otherwise it's gonna be very difficult.
Yes, and Pick and Pay does make it easy for us because they chop it up, put it in a bag. So all we need to do is wash it off and put it in your pot.
Yeah.
For the crust, we'll use some cornflakes crumbs, just to give it that extra bit of crunch. I'm gonna put it in the whole bag. Okay. Some salt and pepper to taste. Some ground paprika. Not too much. And then some oil.
How much oil approximately on that? What is that, 500 grams of flakes?
We should use about
30 more.
45 ml, I would say.
45 ml, okay.
45 ml.
Again, recipes will be posted on or in the comment box.
I may try it myself.
Yes, yes, you must. You must. We're just showing you the how to get there. The getting there is on your own.
Lock it in. When you're operating heavy machinery, please make sure you're all safe and secure. Right. Perfect flavor and texture. The colors look so awesome.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And that's going to be the crust that goes on top of this beautiful rack of lamb.
Just smell those flavors.
Mmm.
It's amazing.
That's mint and parmesan and...
We're adding the parmesan now. You want to add the parmesan. You can add it to your blender as well. But you want to add it afterwards just to mix it through so that we don't lose too much of that.
And that flavor.
That flavor, yes.
Awesome.
So while this sets, we're just going to add some butter to our butternut. Touch of honey.
But isn't butternut sweet already? Why would you add honey in as well?
Just a little bit, just to bring that flavor. So when you pair the meat with the butternut, it just pops with the flavor.
Okay. And
because we're making a butternut puree, you don't want to add too much water when you're cooking the butternut because it'll make it too waterish when you puree it.
Yeah.
So for now, we'll just let it simmer so it can cook nice and soft, and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients afterwards.
And while that is on the stove, this
Our lovely lamb
needs to go into the oven, and you need to show us how.
So while preparing our rack of lamb, I want to mention that you can ask your butcher at our Pick n Pay stores for your specific cut piece of lamb or any type of meat actually.
Any type of meat, that's correct, yeah. Yes. And I see there's some silver foil on the bone. Why are we doing that?
This is actually a nice trick to help you when you put your lamb into the oven. The bone right here, it's clear, so it's clean. So to prevent it from burning in the oven, we wrap it with some foil so that it looks nice on presentation when you do take it out of the oven.
Okay.
So we're just gonna season it
Generously or just mildly?
generously
Okay.
with some salt and pepper. Whoops. That side as well, just to lock in that flavors.
I would have never thought to actually cook a whole rack just like
like
that.
that.
I thought it's in the pan like chops.
I think
Clearly not. We're learning something here
Yep.
today.
We learn something new every day.
that's to seal it so we can lock all the juices into the meat.
I love that sound.
How will you make the lamb? Should it be cooked through or should it still be pink on the inside?
I tend to see with lamb, if you overcook it, it gets quite dry. So you want to keep it medium, so you still have those juices, those nice pink juices flowing, especially if you're making lamb rack like this. So we're just gonna We can actually move over now while we're waiting for our lamb to braise. we're gonna make the glue for our crust. So what we'll use here is some mustard. Add some honey to our mustard, just to give it some nice flavor. Stir every now and then.
But it's getting good.
Yes, it's getting there.
It's going to be even better when we add the cinnamon to it.
Can I take this for you?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, I know this is annoying. I used to annoy my son so much because I used to clean as I cook.
Perfect. I love a girl who knows what to do in the kitchen. Okay, so yes, now we're gonna add the mustard. It acts as a glue on your lamb because we're gonna crust it now. And you wanna be really generous and get it everywhere. On your...
That looks like something that should be done with the hands.
Yeah.
Yes. Very tempting.
That's the glue for the crust.
That's the glue for the crust. Remember, it's just your mustard with a bit of honey, and you can add some parsley as well. Not those extra flavors. And we just want to make sure we got it all covered. Right.
Wow, that already looks good.
And now we're going to add the crust, and we're going to be quite generous with it. So I'm going to completely use my hands here because I want to catch all the crust on this side.
And how long is this going into the oven for, Chef Zen?
Approximately 20 minutes, because you don't, once again, you don't want to overcook your lamb so it's dry. Ladies, have a look.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
A bit of green lamb. We have set our oven to 200 degrees, so we'll put it in for approximately 20 minutes. So before we go on to our red wine reduction, we're gonna just complete our butternut. It's cooked, it's nice and soft. We've added a little bit of cinnamon, and then our secret ingredient, some orange zest. Now the zest is just slightly grating the peel of the orange. We don't want to take too much of the orange to get to the white part because the white part is rather bitter. So we just want that nice flavor of the orange in. You are welcome to go and blend it for us.
Hey.
Puree it actually.
Okay.
Yes. There we go. Okay.
So butternut done. We're moving on to our red wine reduction. And Chef Zen, I assume we're going to use the same pan that we braised the lamb in?
Yes, you want to keep those flavors. So that's salt and pepper plus the
lamb,
the
meatiness.
meat flavor.
Yeah.
This past weekend there was a lot of action happening in Windhoek with the helicopter.
Yeah.
What were you guys doing? What is this operation that was happening?
Okay, so we were busy with Operation Resilient from the 1st to the 3rd of October, which was focused on crime prevention and crime fighting. So we deployed the ground forces, we had the reserve force, we had all the members of the police out, and we had the police helicopters as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we installed the night sun, the searchlight. So we're doing patrols in the evenings during curfew. Yeah, so basically the point was just to try and curb crime because it's more rampant during month end. So that's why we strategically decided to do it.
So for now, we're just going to add some onion and garlic to our oil mixture. We're also going to add some thyme. A few stems. We don't really want to chop it up.
It's actually a sprig of thyme.
A sprig.
A sprig.
A sprig of thyme.
Sprig
We're adding
of
a
herb.
sprig of herb. So we add some chicken stock. Okay, so we're adding half a cup of balsamic vinegar to our red wine sauce.
Is it a sauce or a reduction? Oh, it's still a sauce. We haven't reduced it yet.
Not a reduction yet.
Okay. And any famous people that you've met while you were scouring the air?
Well, by virtue of us being security, we do associate with a lot of high-profile people, a lot of politicians. But there is one person that I have met that's on my WhatsApp display picture.
The WhatsApp that I'm stalking.
And that's the former US President George W. Bush.
Oh,
Yes.
when was he in Namibia?
He was here, I think in 2016. That's when we took the picture.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And was that on government or official business or in his private capacity?
He was here on holiday. But obviously we're in charge of the security. So yes.
Of all the famous people around the world.
Yes, absolutely.
So it seems like our reduction is done.
The sauce is going to be strained now.
Okay.
So that we can get that nice reduction.
Okay. So now we're taking out all the onions and the garlic and the herbs.
All the chunky stuff.
All the chunky stuff. Okay. Oh, you need the pan back now. And I think that is telling us that our lamb should be done.
So now we can check on our lamb.
Okay. And we actually got a timer to make sure we don't overcook our lamb. Remember what we said, if it's overcooked, it's dry and it's not as tasty as it should be.
Yeah.
We still want to experience all that flavor and juices. And you can get this lovely device, this egg timer, you can actually get at Pick n Pay.
So while we're waiting for our wine reduction to get to the right consistency, let's get our sugar snap peas ready for our plating. We don't want to overcook our peas, so we're going to put them on a hot plate.
Wow, Chef Zen, you really outdid yourself.
With your help, of course, ladies.
This looks divine.
It looks amazing.
This looks 5-star, really. And it's so simple because I think we all have butternut at home. Sugar snaps, I guess you can also replace with beans if you would like.
Yeah. I need the recipe for the reduction. I'm enjoying it very much.
Well, you can get the recipe for the reduction and you at home in our comments right at the bottom of this. And remember, like and subscribe and you can win a fantastic Pick n Pay shopping voucher to the value of 1,000 Namibian dollars. Well, Commissioner, you look like you are enjoying this meal very much. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you also for taking us on that lovely helicopter ride. It was really an amazing experience. And thank you to the Namibian police for having us. Cheers.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'm happy I flew you today. Cheers.
Cheers.